world. This is Sam, aka the Sunglass Chef. It is 2:33 p.m. on Friday, November the 17th, 2017. I am 5 days into my fast, and I'll be going a total of 6 days. No food, no sugar, no juices, agua only, water. Fiji water and mostly Mountain Valley spring water. But not all water is created equally. Distilled water that you purchase from a store, typically in a plastic container or gallon, often has a 5.6 pH, which is weakly acidic. You don't want that in your system. I wouldn't give it to my dog. But enough about water. Outside of, stay away from your faucet water because of all the contaminants it has, including fluoride. You want to stay away from fluorinated water. It is no good whatsoever. It's a poison, and I encourage the listeners to check it out for themselves. Dr. Mercola wrote a nice article on the 10 dangers of fluoride, or the 10 truths of fluoride. So check it out when you have a moment. But I want to talk about this amazing journey that I'm on and how great I feel. My energy levels are wonderful. My skin feels phenomenal, soft and moist. I feel awesome. And that wasn't always the case. Yesterday was day 4, was the worst of my fasting days. At 5 o'clock, it was great until 5, and I was cooking a meal for my family, Texas hash with potatoes, cubed potatoes, and I began to feel lightheaded. I was clammy, feeling queasy, feverish, and very fatigued. My feet ached, and I just needed to rest. And I love to cook, but in the middle of my cooking, I had to stop and give myself a timeout because I was really feeling under the weather. Researching this, it appears to be normal for those that are fasting. It's the body detoxing. I was concerned because I hadn't had a bowel movement since Monday. Today is Friday, and I have regular bowel movements daily, which is a sign of healthiness. But I hadn't had any on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday until Thursday at 10:51. And at that time, I felt relieved, energetic, and I completely rebounded. I did 180 degree from 5 o'clock feeling really bad until 10:51 p.m. And so that was my body releasing, expelling the toxins that had accumulated in my body, and that this water fast was detoxing. So that was just phenomenal, and I was so happy about that. I have had very cold feet, and I had to go online and research this because on Wednesday and Thursday night, my feet were super cold, like icicles. And I've never experienced that before, and apparently that's normal when fasting. When I started this journey, I wanted to focus on shutting down the digestive engine, giving it a break, and detoxing. I've lost, by the way, 12 pounds in 5 days, which is phenomenal. I just weighed myself a few minutes ago. I'm 221 pounds. Again, I'm not doing this for weight loss, but that's a consequence of this water fast, and I'm not complaining. But when I started this journey, I started it with the understanding of caring for myself, self-love, wanting to practice control and willpower. And it evolved. And last night I had an epiphany. And this epiphany said, what you're doing, Sam, is a rite of passage. And that's precisely what I'm doing here. I think that's probably the greatest thing. I know that having great health is extremely important. Um, Having a great relationship is important as well. Having relationships with friends and family is important. But I can't think of a more important journey for myself than a rite of passage. And it's interesting because in nature, they gloss over the boys but didn't gloss over girls. And what I mean by that is when a girl goes to bed and then she wakes up with red in her panties, that's a signal from Mother Nature that it's time to grow up, that you are no longer a girl, you are now a young lady. And there are things you have to do to care for yourself and to mature. But that aspect was lost on boys. We don't have such a thing. And it's extremely unfortunate, not that we don't have PMS, but it's unfortunate that we don't have a rite of passage. And so many cultures around the world have various rites of passages. The Maasai tribe in Kenya, for example, you, as a young boy or a mature boy, would go out and kill a lion and bring it back to the tribe, and that was a sign that you are now a man, and the tribe and people around the village and in your community recognize you as a man. In Mali, as an example, boys that would travel on a caravan, oftentimes across the desert to get salt deposits and bring the salt back. If they survived that dangerous journey, they were considered men. And it goes on and on with many different cultures worldwide. But in America, we're limited to the Boy Scouts of America? I don't think so. And I don't know if you've heard the recent news, but now girls can apply for membership in the Boy Scouts of America. How obscene is that? You've got the Girl Scouts. If you're a girl, shouldn't you apply there? No, there's several girls that want to be part of the Boy Scouts. And based on feminized leadership, or so-called leadership within the Boy Scouts of America, they opted to allow girls in. But that's another topic for another day, another discussion for another day. My point is that the Boy Scouts of America and does not constitute a rite of passage for boys and transitioning them to men. And there's no such mechanism that I have seen in America that allows for that. And so we have a lot of males that are stuck. And it doesn't matter what their age is. They can be 60 years old and be acting like a boy. And oftentimes do. You see them with jerseys and hats on backwards. And I'm not trying to judge anyone specifically. I'm just saying that there's a lack of maturity that comes with folks that haven't been given the opportunity or given themselves the opportunity to the rite of passage. And so in closing, I'm so excited that I've given myself permission and the control to do my own rite of passage. And I look at this 6-day fast as a rite of passage. So that's it for now. Let's work harder, all, in particular males. Let's work harder at self-love. That's what this is all about. Because if you can love yourself, you will learn to love others. And as the great and belated Dr. Scott Peck said, love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's emotional and spiritual growth. I think it's worth repeating. Dr. Peck, phenomenal psychiatrist who's no longer here on this earth, but his story and his life work transitions on, said the best definition I have ever heard on love, and that quote is, love is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's emotional and spiritual growth. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.